Okay, so here we have everything we need for our chicken broth. We have a couple of chicken carcasses. We also have some carrots, celery, onions, leeks, and this up here also leeks, also cut up. Got one more to cut up, but I want to show you what to do with that. Got some thyme, bay leaves, and peppercorns. About a dozen peppercorns. 8 or 10 is good. I like 12. There's no salt in this. The reason for that is this is not a soup. We're using this for a base. So it's just a base ingredient. Okay, first thing we're going to do, we got a couple of carrots. Just going to cut the ends off. I didn't peel these. No need for it. Just cleaned them pretty real good. And we just need to chop them. These things are going to simmer for 5 hours at least. Probably closer to 10 here. So next thing I have is some celery. Just get rid of the ends. The same thing, just a real rough chop. You like the leaves taste good. And onions. Got 2 onions. All I'm going to do with this is cut the end off. Don't want the root. The rest of it I want. Cut that end off too. Don't particularly want that either. And then we'll just put this into quarters. Quarters is good enough. I'm using the skins as well because they help the color of the broth. Okay, now for the leeks. I have some that are already cut up, just like this. Just cut them real rough. Problem with leeks though is they hold a lot of dirt. Leeks is you want the white part and the light green part. This top part is pretty bitter. However, if you are gonna simmer this for hours, as we're going to, like 5, 6, 10, 12 hours, the bitterness will come out of this, but I still don't like to use it very much. So don't do that. Now the easiest way to clean these is really just cut them in chunks. You can see there's a hell of a lot of dirt. So I'll cut them in half again. And I'm done with this cutting board except for these, so it's not really an issue. And then we'll cut that. And we'll put this in a colander. Not a bad idea to just soak them in water for a little while if you have time. But get those in the sink and we'll clean those up. We'll be right back. Okay, so let's start doing some cooking. So first thing I do, like I said, I want to saute these onions a little bit. So we're going to take a bunch of olive oil. Medium heat on this thing. Just want to get it until it starts to shimmer a little bit. You can start to smell the oil already. And we can start dumping these in. There you go, get a nice little sizzle. Just gonna move them around a little bit. Don't need to cook them for very long, maybe a few minutes. Okay, you can sizzling. Oh baby, I'm gonna take all these vegetables, toss them in the pool. No worries. We'll get them all in there. You don't have a choice. All this stuff will boil down, especially those leeks and onions. No cameraman, sorry. So next take our peppercorns, just gonna drop them in there. And I got 3 bay leaves. Uno, dos, tres. We'll drop those in as well. And we'll fill this up with some water. We really want enough water to cover it. For this pan or pot, about a 6-gallon pot. Well, while you were gone, I determined I needed another pot. First one just wasn't big enough. Not a big deal. As with anything else, whenever you're cooking, stuff happens. It's not what happens, it's what you do to get over it. So we got 2 pots. I just cut everything in half. Also added some thyme to each of them, which we hadn't added before. Someone asked me why am I not using garlic or anything else? Some people use garlic and they'll use things like star anise in their broths. If I had a reason and a recipe I was thinking about for that, I would do it. But both of those are pretty strong taste, so it pretty much limits where I can use the broth. So I try to make it as neutral as possible. If I want garlic in the recipe I'm using the broth, I'll put garlic in that recipe. But not a bad idea to try it if you like it. Okay, so we're starting to boil a little bit on this one. So what I want to do now, I don't want it boiling. I'm going to cook this for a long time, but it's going to be on really low heat. I want this just barely simmering. And I'm going to leave this for 5 hours. And maybe longer. We'll see in about 5 hours. So it's been about 6 hours. And we got some pretty looking broth here. The stock is looking pretty amazing. Just going to put it through a strainer. Try and get as much of this stuff as possible out. There we go. This will take a while. So I ended up with about 6 quarts of stock here. Looking pretty good. I'm going to let this stuff cool overnight. Then I'll scrape whatever fat comes to the top, and it doesn't look like it's going to be a crazy amount. And then I will put it into cups. About 2 cups, just a red Solo cup. Put about 2 cups in each one. Freeze it and throw it in Ziploc. And I'll be good for the holidays.